Welcome to Unity Life, Sacred Teachings and Mystery School. Welcome to the 16 Keys Support Tool. These are valuable concept models. Like a prototype, a concept model is a work of art designed to help you clarify what is best or what is realistic. In 2017, I witnessed a series of incredible miracles. I saw a candle manifest out of thin air right before my eyes, as well as a lighter. The right half of my jade plant disintegrated into a shriveled, dry husk in about 3 seconds, and my ears and lips dramatically changed shape and size in the mirror, then changed back. In response to these life-changing events, I developed these models of how miracles would work out globally without conflict or destruction if this amazing potential of the nature of reality was freely released. For the YouTube version of the 16 Keys series, I have again combined multiple keys into a single video. Here we have it, keys 6, 7, and 8, the Materialization keys. Enjoy! Hello and welcome to Key 6, and I'm so happy that you joined me for this, probably one of my favorite keys in the 16 Keys series. This is called Materializations. The next key is called Manifestations. In the previous version of these keys, I used to have longer titles. This one was about temporary materializations, the ability to manifest physical objects at will out of thin air. And the next one, key 7, was permanent materializations. So temporary, meaning that they will come in and out of existence in one way or another. And along the way, they might actually hit the garbage dump, by the way. So this is going to be an exciting key series. So I want to begin by sharing the incredible story of my Key 6 experience. And I guess this would be considered way too out there, in a sense, to actually talk about this kind of thing if I did not actually have this personal experience behind me. In 2017, I was in my private home alone in a place where I was meditating quite a bit, very often, and I was actually smoking mapacho tobacco and praying in meditation and doing healing sessions. I had been involved with psychedelic plant medicine, although at that particular time I was not actually under the influence whatsoever of any psychedelics. However, I definitely noticed that the energy was amped up to very high vibrational spiritual vibe in the home. So I wanted to just give you an idea of the spiritual vibes that were going on in case you found that interesting, but this key will not include a full explanation of how exactly I feel that the miracle was produced. So I was just sitting at my altar and praying and gazing at my altar where I normally had tea lights set up. And there was a tea light container holder with a little metal cup. At that moment, I just looked expectantly right at the tea light holder. I just felt at that time that there was going to be a materialization, a key 6. The cup actually filled with wax all the way to the top, and a wick appeared, and this was absolutely out of thin air. Again, there's just no way that this was just a hallucination. Case in point to that, I then took my lighter and lit the candle, and just awed in the majesty of this incredible experience as the light from the candle filled the room. It was evening and the light was getting dimmer, so I enjoyed this lighting in the evening, which progressively throughout the next few hours actually filled the room beautifully. It was an incredible experience. So the whole idea behind this key is that it provides a wider range of objects which could materialize out of thin air than if we only had key 7. Also, objects can be temporarily stored in non-existence using this key, such as clothes, tools, etc. So if you have an incredible tool set, for example, of say 2,000 amazingly specialized tools that you've made with key 6, you don't have to have a tool shed that big. And that is the fun of key 6, which is very cool. I would say that probably over 50% or more of all of our possessions would be key 6 items. In order to avoid conflict coming up about what kinds of items will take up space, there is a limit. Keys 2 to 5, the mental abilities keys, are used. That way there's perfect cooperation governing the holistic choice making with a collective overall template of the whole of the earth behind what kinds of items will be produced and not. In this concept model, key 6 is usually avoided in favor of key 7 because key 7 items are more powerful. However, it definitely ethically has its place for creative impeccability, for freedom to actually do the best job possible on these items. So thank you for listening to Key 6, and I hope you liked it. Definitely feel free to comment about this and let me know your thoughts, or ask any questions as well. Thank you. Welcome to Key 7, Manifestations. This key title has been shortened from the longer version, which was Permanent Materializations, the ability to manifest physical objects at will out of thin air, these objects included in eternity. So these are the items that we will never be able to part with, that we will want to live with in our homes forever. With Key 7, we can have objects so masterfully designed that they could not possibly be outmoded or improved in all the innovation of all of eternity. When you reference back to Key 6, you'll see that I've provided a story of my experience with a candle literally manifesting right out of thin air before my eyes. It was a Key 6 actually. I mean, that's stunning. A lot of people have thought about the creation of material reality by God as being the work of an incredible mastermind because of that way that there's so much information to account for in making a physical object just like that. And that is well worth keeping in mind in this. That level of genius would definitely go very well with creating amazing items. The prophetic ability mentioned in previous keys would go into it, and the strategic mastery as well. So it would be as well done as you could imagine God would do it. These kinds of items have incredible relevance and impact to lifestyle. These objects are often far superior than anything manually crafted or engineered. Astronomically well-ordered makeup is combined with design or craftsmanship quality that would require aeons, impractical amounts of time and skill, at limit only to our ability to fathom it. For example, keys 2 and 3. For example, an amazing example, Grand Master Visionary Art, paintings. Imagine using Key 7 to create paintings of profound magnitude and importance, so great that it spans an eternity of contemplation without ever getting old. With the whole painting example, I like to imagine how long it actually takes to become a master painter. Say if you're apprenticing under the greatest master painter that has ever lived, I'll have it like say that I trained under a grandmaster for 500 years, then practiced for 2,000 years at painting until I became at the ultimate level that I possibly could through learning and practice. Then with that skill of how I would do it for myself right now, how I would want it, I would create this painting now, which is relevant to today. Technology is similar to tablets and laptops with far more intuitive application, would also be a part of our lives with Key 7. Important books also would be a deep part of our lives. Temple homes and community spaces of immaculate, exquisite beauty, similar to angelic alien artistic renderings, would probably be our first choice of living quarters. We could create anything, so I guess it would match all the visionary dreams of the great artists of inspiration throughout time, like Ariel Ali, for example, would definitely have captured it. In key 7, I like to also include food and medicine, harvested potentially without an actual ecology source. However, of course, ecology, relationship, reverence, and makeup are very, very important to this, so it would be based on that concept. Meat, plants, anything like that, it would be very interesting to use key 7 instead of actually harvesting life forms, and sometimes that's going to be ecologically the ideal. And I chose to put this kind of creation under key 7 rather than key 6, even though it will be consumed, because it's so beautiful how life cycles. So I hope that you've enjoyed key 7. There's probably a lot more that I would like to say about it someday, and I look forward to future videos about this, one of my favorite keys, as well as key 6 and 8. Thank you. Hi, and welcome to key 8, Dematerializations. This key used to be called, the longer title, the ability to dematerialize matter into thin air at will, with the option to rematerialize it again at any time. Again, this key goes very well with keys 6 and 7, and you may find the story interesting of how a candle actually manifested right out of thin air before my eyes, which I tell in key 6. Now in key 8, I want to also open with a personal story of witnessing a miracle. My experience was that I saw the right half of my full-bodied, healthy jade plant disintegrate into a shriveled, dry husk in less than 3 seconds, right before my eyes. Actually, this was very shortly after the time when I saw the candle materialize out of thin air. Very similarly to that time, I was not on any psychedelics whatsoever, not under the influence at all. And I was just meditating, gazing gently at my plant, and I felt very strongly that it was about to be a miracle. Well, instantly this happened. The right half disintegrated, and what was left was almost like dust. It was gray. It was very light substance, which if you touched it, it would just break and fall apart. And it was much smaller than the plant, so there was hardly anything there anymore. This is similar to what I envision with key 8. I usually imagine key 8 is dissolving into absolutely nothing. I would point out that with what happened to the jade plant was that probably about 80% or 90% of the material that actually makes up the plant dissolved into absolute thin air. This experience, I've also seen other miracles with similar things like that, such as witnessing my body actually change shape, my ears and my lips. My ears became much longer, say it went from about here to about here, I'd say, and my upper lip went all the way up to the top so that I could not close it anymore. This was definitely a bit of a freaky experience. I was watching in the mirror. Again, I was not on psychedelics, and this was not a vision of any kind. I had enough time to just really observe these changes, feel my face, try to put my lips together and fail, explore the change physically for a while to make sure that it was clear, and then after that, back to normal again. So, of course, this would be a very important key. As mentioned in key 1, this key is critical to biological elimination of all kinds, as well as routine changes like hair lengths. Another idea of something that would probably happen is what I call jumping. This would be kind of like the Star Trek transporter, where you could actually travel without technology or without vehicles. It would require the mental abilities of keys 2, 3, and 4 for the self-realization which transcends death. Similarly, other kinds of routine upkeep would be very much improved using this key in that way, like, for example, jumping snow or jumping water from one location to another without the use of manual labor. I'm going to get more into water management in key 16. Due to this key, byproducts like car exhausts are not a factor of ethical limitation to design. With key 8, we would clean home spaces and clean our community spaces up taking away dangerous items, rubble, debris, and dirt. We could also tidy up by simply putting things in place this way, regularly. As mentioned in Key 6, it could be used for storage, to actually dissolve things into thin air and then put them back later. Of course, this would be an ethical key, and so a part of the ethics of this key is to not overuse it. For example, compost. Of course, the compost from our food is meant to return into the earth, into the ecology. And with this key, we could jump our compost to where it's most needed in the forests without even having to use expensive city systems. Of course, garbage dumps and so many toxins would need to be removed from the environment. And this key would be the ideal for doing that in many cases. I want to thank you so much for taking the time for these 3 keys: materializations, manifestations, and dematerializations. Again, they all work as a whole very well. And thank you. Have a beautiful day.